What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about something different. Let's talk about the SPY. You got a little bit of time, so wanted to go over something different. Probably 90% of my trades are based around the SPY and Tesla. I think they're two of the probably most profitable and easy trades that you can scalp on the daily. You get a lot of volatility in the two, and I think talking about it as far as just an overall trend or what we see happening, I don't think it's being talked about too much, and I just wanted to bring a little bit of attention to it. As always, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. It's just for entertainment purposes only, so let's be entertained. All right, so I have it on a longer time frame. I have the SPY on the weekly time frame right now, but it really doesn't matter what time frame we put it on. If you put it on the daily or you put it on the weekly, what you see for the most part of the trend is a bounce, anytime it gets close to that 50 moving average, the 50 MA, it tends to bounce. It'll get close, bounce off of it, get close, bounce off it, run away, get close, bounce off of it. Same. We see that's on the daily. You see it on the weekly. Pretty much similar effects unless there's something drastic that happens. So what I wanted to bring attention to really was, the lead up, same thing on the weekly. It's bouncing off of that 50, nice. But when it cuts through that 50 and it doesn't make the bounce on the 200, it cuts through. We see some weakness there. That was the .com. It took 6.5 years really for the market to recover. If you bought right here and you were going long in something, you had to hold that for almost 6.5 years for you to be able to break even again. We see it gain a little bit of strength, but it wasn't long lived right here. The housing bubble, right? 2.5 years to recover. If you purchased right here, you were holding about 2.5 years before you got your money back on a long position. And then we see the trend go again. Finally gets its strength above the 50 moving average. It's bouncing off of it. If it falls through, it still bounces off of the 200. And then we have the C word, 7 months to recover. And I think this one was due to a couple of different things. There was a lot of money that was being pumped into the system at this time just to kind of help the economy overall, to help things thrive. And I think a lot of retail actually pumped their own money into the play at this point because you were sitting at home, you were getting interested in the stock market, you're like, there's nothing else to do, so you started throwing some money in there. So along with all the Fed money that was going in and your money, it helped for a quicker recovery here. But let me ask you something. Is the economy better, in your opinion, than it was back here in 2020? Has anything made any drastic changes that would really pump us from 327 to 476 overall? I mean, I think there's some money that's being made with the businesses. I do think that it probably has a little bit of growth there, but do you think it was warranted that there would be this much growth? No tests of the 50 MA. Doesn't seem quite right, if we look at the rest of the trend that was going on. So what do we have going on right now that I wanted to bring attention to was the fact that we have dropped below that 50. And right now we are banging our heads off of the 50. And it still has yet to test the 200 moving average. Now, we're going to go back just to reiterate what typically would happen in this scenario. You're usually bouncing above the 50, right? And if you drop below, you kind of bounce your head off of it, or you lose a little bit of steam, comes down, touches the 200, and then runs again. Same thing here. Bouncing off of the 50, drops below it, touches the 200, runs again. So right now, what are your thoughts? If you're banging your head off of the 50, you see it cut through the 50, what would be the overall direction of the SPY? Well, my thought is at some point it's probably going to work its way down to the 200. And is it going to be able to hold there? Or how big of a correction are we going to need? Right now it's sitting around the 5.0 fib retracement. I guess if you wanted to call it the run from whenever the C word started to the peak. And, a 5.0 bounce could be very warranted, and that is close to the 200. So is that where it's going to be? It's also kind of, evening out just a little bit higher than where we were in 2020. So I could see that being a realistic possibility somewhere around the The 343.88 range, I think that's a little extreme, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it'll come back even further than that. We're just going to have to see how the economy goes overall. But I wanted to show you a general trend in case you are trading it. Could we see a possible bounce, as far as 380 to 385 if it's going to continue this downtrend as far as the weekly goes? That's probably what I'm looking for first, is somewhere in the 380 to 385. We know we had some news that came out on Friday, not the greatest news, and so we're kind of starting over. We're going to see if that's going to have any lingering effects into this coming week, come Tuesday, whenever the markets open up. How is it going to respond? We know that things can't go straight down. They can't go straight up. There has to be some bouncing around. So right now I have it in this downward trend that is happening. Are we going to test the lower side before it gets any strength? Right now it's kind of in no man's land. It's just sitting here right in the dead middle. So to just kind of be patient is what you're going to want to do. That's what I typically want to do, is just let the market open up. Give it 15, 20, 30 minutes even. See what the trend is. Is it getting strength? How's it responding? And how's it moving in between these channels? And where is it going to go from there? And I tend to trade the SPY along with Tesla because they almost interact similarly. So if I'm in one, I can almost trade both of them at the same time and be kind of comfortable. Although I do like to just be in one trade at a time, just so that I can really keep an eye on what's going on. Because like I said, I just kind of scalp. I look for the setups. I take the money. I don't get greedy. Just do quick trends, quick patterns, whatever I can see, up or down. I would say don't be a perma bear, don't be a perma bull, because you just want to make money in the markets, and what you have to do is respond to how the markets are going. You don't fight the trend. Your play is not affecting the markets, I can guarantee you. If you're playing 10 contracts on the SPY or 10 contracts on Tesla, you're not having any effect on what's going on. So you just play with the trend. You look for those setups, you look for those patterns, and you roll with it. But all in all, I see a pretty solid indication that there's weakness in the SPY, and just I'm curious how low it's going to go. I have this generic trend line that I drew up. It's kind of cutting through just a lot of the. It's not perfect by any means, but we can see it tested on a few points. Here's a test. Here's a test. Here's a test. We've seen it break through there a couple of times, but another test. So all the way back from the housing market bubble is where I kind of drew that trend line just to see what's going on. Patterns like to be repeated. Algorithms like to pick up on these patterns, and they like to repeat them. So I'm kind of using this red line around 285 range as like possibly what I think could be the great pullback reset to whatever the markets want to do. I'm highly guessing and speculating as to where that's going to be, but I like this intersection. It's going to give it plenty of time. It's going to play out into, I mean, next year, really, if it wants to get down there. I don't know if it's going to be a mad rush down to that line, but I'm just going to kind of watch it and see how it moves, how it responds in that time period. But overall, my thinking is right now I would be very cautious about opening long positions, because in my opinion, we are in a downward channel. We have a lot of things that need to be straightened out, and I'm just being patient as far as the long positions go. I'm going to wait and see where that bottom is. But in the meantime, I'll continue to play the SPY in the direction that it's going. Options, calls or puts, doesn't matter to me. As long as it's trending in that direction, I'm going to play it in that direction. I'm not saying it's going to come down on Tuesday or going to go up on Tuesday, because right now we are in no man's land as far as what you can see. So I think you just need to hold tight and be patient. It could bounce anywhere at once. It could take a drop. But I do believe it's playing in this channel, and I think it's going to play out in this channel for quite some time until things really start to get back under control. So I don't want you to have a bearish mentality. I don't want you to have a bullish mentality. I want you to have a mentality of, I'm going to play with whatever big money is doing. Now, they can't just sell and sell and sell and sell and sell. There has to be some buying that goes back in, right? So that they're able to sell off some more or short some more or whatever they want to do. They're taking profits along the way, which is what we should all be mentally thinking is I want to take some profits along the way, because that's what's going to really build the account, build wealth. It's a great system to build wealth as long as you're willing to make trades. You can't hold on to things forever. You can't hold on to options forever for sure, because they're going to go to zero if you do. And you just got to get comfortable with making the trades. So I'd say maybe we'll talk a little bit more on trading. We'll do a few setups. I'll let you guys see what I'm looking at for the week, and then you guys can copy some of the charts and you can start getting more comfortable with actually trading and seeing patterns and seeing what way the trend could be going. But overall, I do think we are in a pretty interesting spot. I think I will definitely be patient on Tuesday morning, just waiting to see what money's going to do, because that was a pretty healthy drop that we took as far as Friday went. And, there could be some buying that needs to come back in to make up for some of the selling that happened. So I have a slightly bullish idea that comes to my mind for a short period of time, but I'm also thinking overall the trend is down. So you can't get stuck in one direction. You can't fight the trend. You just have to recognize the trend and go with it. So I thank you guys for coming back and watching another one. You're welcome to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, or leave a comment. I'm always interested in hearing what you guys have to say. I will catch you guys in the next one. We're looking forward to the market being open tomorrow. As always, stay golden, people, and may your accounts stay green.